So the main event of UFC Columbus just wrapped up between Curtis Blaydes and Chris Daukaus. And wow, what an emphatic performance for Curtis Blaydes, who shut down the haters and made an impressive statement by knocking out Chris Daukaus. So yeah, we're just going to get straight into it by discussing each sequence and how he was able to set up the knockout. So both these guys are actually coming off of pretty recent losses to Derek Lewis, and they're coming back in to show why they're the top echelon of the heavyweight division and why they can still compete at the top. So at the start of the fight, you can really see that both guys were kind of setting the pace. Curtis Blaydes throwing a couple leg kicks and Daukaus trying to find his range inside. A lot of feinting from both early on. And you can see Daukaus was really trying to get on the inside, blitzing forward and coming into Curtis Blaydes' range really early on. But Blaydes managed to find his distance, kind of settle into the fight more.
And Blaydes, typically known for his wrestling attributes and his skill on the ground. Really, this fight didn't shoot for takedowns at all during the first or second round, and was just exchanging with Daukaus and happy to keep his distance.
And you see after Daukaus tries to explode in, you see Blaydes finding his timing with a huge opening on the right hand, and he manages to capitalize on something that he'll show even more later on in the fight when he's able to get that finishing sequence.
Curtis really tried to use his jab to mitigate the distance between him and Daukaus throughout the fight, and it was a pretty effective weapon for him throughout. And at the majority of the first round, you could really just see them measuring each other and pretty much calculating their distance between and just analyzing what each other are doing. And Curtis was definitely using feints effectively throughout the fight, keeping Daukaus guessing throughout.
Yeah, and around halfway through the first round, Daukaus leaves himself open with a huge right hand, and Curtis is able to get away from it, land a right hand of his own, and kind of just finish off that exchange. Yeah, like you mentioned, that jab was definitely a key for Blaydes, as he was really able to find his distance, and he was using that effectively. I was really impressed by his jab. He was also switching stances to use different stance jabs, left hand jabs, right hand jabs. He was just finding his rhythm, finding his timing.
I definitely feel Curtis's striking is underrated, especially amongst fans who know him for just wrestling and kind of controlling on the ground. But he has good hands as well, and he showed that throughout the entire fight. And Daukaus really found most of his successes when he was blitzing in on Curtis and managed to find a few shots that landed nicely. Like when he was able to get through Curtis's guard and land with a nice right hand.
You can see Blaydes was really setting up those counter punches more than kind of just blitzing in like Daukaus was. He was more on the back foot and trying to time him. There was an eye poke at the end of the first round, which kind of set Daukaus off.
And the second round starting, you can see Blaydes kind of more offensive, but ready to start off, and just instantly 10 seconds in lands out giant straight that just sits Daukaus down and just gets the finishing ground and pound for the win.
And in this finishing sequence, you could see that Curtis feinted the overhand right, really got Daukaus thinking. And then Daukaus came in for a huge left hand of his own. He did land it, but it wasn't at all to the same efficiency as the right hook from Blaydes. Landed straight on the button, set Daukaus down, and Blaydes just came in with ground and pound shots at the end of the fight. You can see he was just raining elbows, raining haymakers from the floor. This was definitely an impressive performance by Curtis Blaydes, who really showed his versatility in the sport. He's not just a wrestler, he can also strike, he has power, and he really proved that, and that's going to really propel his career. Hope maybe getting him a big fight in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, so potentially he can line himself up now for an interim fight against potentially maybe Sorogon, maybe a fight with Tom Aspinall coming off a win against Volkov. But this sets him up pretty nicely after a big emphatic win over Chris Daukaus, and now puts him in a good spot for the future.